Hey guys, Bastarine here. For examiners, this is Sebastian Wakeling making this. This is my rundown of a map I've made called Construe. It is a Valorant-inspired map, so it is made based around Valorant mechanics, whether that is agent movement. So my mic was plugged in, sorry. Based on agent movement, gunplay, and other in-game features such as barriers and orbs. Right. So, quick little rundown. In Valorant, at the start of the round, you have these things called barriers. Basically, they stop players from going to certain parts of the map until a buy phase is done, where you can buy weapons, utility, and stuff. So I've made sure on the map to label where those are. But a quick rundown. Please hold me on the right side. Embarrassing if I didn't. It didn't. To any others reviewing this, if you haven't played Valorant before, there's normally 2 to 3 sites on a map, and you have to pick one during the game as an attacker and go plant the spike there. The defenders have to defend that site from you getting there and planting the spike, or leave it or go back and retake. So once you've planted the spike or got the area, they'll fight you and retake the area and hopefully try and win the game and defuse the spike if it has been planted. This is attacker spawn, as I mentioned. This is where you and your teammates would spawn. Obviously, you could spawn at any of these spots, but for me, I just put it in the center just to make it a bit obvious. This is where your teammates would spawn. I'm going to simulate kind of how. Right now, I'm going to simulate how you would attack B site, and I will then simulate how you'd go through mid, which is another part of the map. I'll probably show on screen somewhere, and then I'll show you how you hit A site. Just a quick note: the defender bots that I'll be shooting, they are in areas where either you would push up as a defender or areas that you would hold back and defend. So that will visually help show you what it's like as a defender. I might show an angle that you'd hold once I've killed them. So we've got a nice area here. This area, you would normally be able to shoot through this. Right now, this mesh is not complete, but it will be soon. But you can't jump over this, but you'll be able to like shoot through this, but and you have a nice background over there. Like in Valorant, there are little areas where you can pry in, see little secrets. There's nothing in here currently, but you'll be able to see some little Easter eggs or little bits in there like you would do in a normal Valorant map. You have a way from here to go into mid and to go into B site. As I said, I'm going to attack B site first. So we'll go B site. Barriers would normally be here at the start for about 40 seconds or so. Once these then go down, as an attacker, you'd obviously try to take this space. You'd clear this. Normally the barrier for defenders is a bit further back here, so it takes a bit longer than the attackers would do to get around here, and that's kind of important in Valorant. You got to be sure that attacks are fast, but also you give advantages to certain sides depending on what the situation is. For me, for example, for this situation, attackers really want to get to this space first before defenders. So barrier should drop. You'd swing out here. This guy would still take a few seconds to swing out if he was going for it, but if he did, you'd have the angle advantage, so they'd swing you first. You'd be more ready for them, and the spray's a bit inconsistent with this, but yes, you should be able to take him out. I'll explain what these are a bit later on. Again, this barrier wouldn't be here when you're entering site. Let's say that guy had pushed, and his teammates are holding back because he's like, "What are you doing? You're stupid." I'd enter site. I'll clear this corner. See a guy here, clear him. Maybe watch it there in case someone try to swing me, but no one has. Swing here to clear this. No one there. Still watch over you there. Watch there. Maybe watch there. Maybe I'd watch over here. I might see this guy over holding this angle. It's so hard to aim with this thing. Get him down. We might jiggle this. See, there's a guy holding boxes here. Jesus. What a great demonstration. There we go. I kill him. Clear this area again. Make sure no one is pushed out of spawn because there's a few still left. Check here. I'd see that gun there maybe if he's holding that angle. Spin round. Get him. Side's clear. This area here represents where you can plant the spike, which is basically a bomb. If you played CS, it's basically like the C4. Can you maybe clear this area? Just make sure that it is clear. Make sure that there wasn't anybody hiding back here. Maybe start planting the spike, or maybe you get someone to even check this corner. You want to do this just to make sure that obviously you want to clear as much area as you can on site. Now you can obviously all just do this dry swinging like I have been, where you just jiggle out here, maybe swing, kill that guy. Check these corners and do that. But in Valorant, what's quite unique is that they have flash abilities, which I might show on screen now. You can breach flash. So you can breach flash up here, maybe. You can throw smokes. You might even throw smokes like here, so you can get this space over here, right here. Kill the bot that was here or something. You've got mollies. So you can maybe molly off that wall, hit there. A lot of things like that can be taken into account. But again, you might plant the spike. Then you may even take those same positions that you just killed them in. So you might post up back here. Maybe watch that door, which I'll explain again in a second. Maybe you might go post up more up here so you can hold aggressive off angle. So when people swing up, you're a bit higher up, so their crosshair is going to be off. Stuff like that. Now there's a few other options you can do. For example, if you hear someone behind this wall, because you can normally hear footsteps in Valorant quite well. This here represents a high wall bangable, a high penetration surface. So you'll need a weapon that has high penetration. In Valorant, there is 3 main forms of penetration. There is low, medium, and high. An Odin, for example, could spray through this, but something like a Vandal, which is kind of more like this gun, would not be able to. And again, you can push. Even as an attacker, you push in here, take this space, but you can actually keep going if you felt like it. So you might look around this area. This wall is also wall bangable, labeled by the yellow one, kind of like this, but because of how thin this is, it's like I'd say this is probably more of a low penetration to a medium penetration wall. I'm gonna clear all the corners as you go around. See a guy here, maybe kill him. Jiggle out here again. Have a look. Don't see anybody. Nobody down there towards that. Oh, you found another guy here. Get rid of him. But you might overheat, so you might like push some more. Maybe there's a guy holding this angle. He shoots you, kills you because they're ready for you. That can happen as well. Again, obviously, these are just examples of where you could hold as a defender for these guys. You could all be holding this angle. Someone might swing you. You might be more ready for them than they're ready for you. Same for that angle. You never know. Something else I want to show for this site. Visually, I'm not able to make this currently, but what this would be is similar to if I'm on Ascent, which I'll probably be showing on screen, where you can click a switch, the door will rise up, and then you can obviously go through here. This door will be open at the start of rounds, and obviously can be closed and opened. It can also be destroyed, which I should be showing on screen in a second. And yeah, so there's that. So again, let's say, okay, we're gonna go through mid through B side. We'll go through mid for both sides to demonstrate this better. So again, let's say we're waiting for the barriers to drop. We're thinking what we're going to do. Barriers drop. Now, normally in this situation, you'd have somebody smoke, so they can block off the area and stop people from seeing you. They might smoke all the way up there if they have the range, depending on who they are, or they might even smoke this area here. Might even smoke. Let me just like specify this with this dart. Nope. Go further up. That one there. That last one there. I'll put the crosshair on. That's something where you smoke again. That's where you maybe put a smoke just so then you can close off like that top area so they can't get that space, and you can just go up here and push this. Let's say the barriers drop, you go through here, maybe jiggle top mid, you see a guy up there. Obviously, depending on what gun you have and what gun they have, the advantage will depend really on that. He technically has the advantage because he is all the way up there and is already staring at you. So as long as his reaction time is good, they will likely get you first. I'll try and shoot this guy. I can't promise I'll kill him. Oh yeah, I got him. Nice. Again, maybe I jiggle out here, because that there is where the openable door was I just showed before. So I'll show you again. I'll show later on defense how you can take advantage of that space. I've got a guy top mid. Let's say in that time I heard someone rush, like run. They literally just sprinted or something down here, took this space. So I slowly jiggle, maybe get a flash again through this box. Kill this guy. And then let's say the smoke's here. Pushed up. Clear this area. Find another guy here. Okay. Smoke's still down. I'll cross over here. Again, pretend the barrier's not here for this. Let's say, oh, the door's closed. Again, there's no switch on this side. But what you can do, as I said, is you can break it. So you break the door, go through. They might clear these corners. Obviously, defenders would play differently if they heard you running through. Normally, it depends on the rank. If they're very low rank, they likely will not understand what's going on. But if they actually have a good rank, then they may position themselves slightly differently. Let me just get rid of this guy. So, for example, they may hold you more like this. Might jiggle over here. They might just hold this angle for you to rush round. May even hold like back here. That crouch. There's no crouch mechanic in this, but you might be able to crouch there. Might even hold this angle. You might hold a further angle back there because you can, for example, if you go up here, you can hold the door there. So if it breaks, you can do that. You can even tuck in here to get this to block you. Just get rid of this guy for a second. But let's just pretend like, yeah, basically from here, obviously they can't see you when they break door. So when they come rushing sight, you'll have the slight advantage when they swing you. That is kept in mind when I'm making this. So again, let's say you went this way, you might clear this guy out. You might go here. The reason that door is there is because it is a much easier door to get through than this door. And it is closer to sight, so it means that the attackers will be more enticed to go this way, because it's quicker. You could go through here a lot easier. You could honestly just smoke these doors and then break this, go through that, basically. And this is to entice the attackers to not push into the spawn. Obviously, you might still push into the spawn, so you might go through here. I did today. You might swing out here, might jiggle it, kill that guy. I do a bit more of a jiggle. You hold that, see if someone's there. No, clear this. Could be there. They could even be here. So you might jiggle here, see that guy. Maybe spray him down here. Maybe see this guy do that. We rush this guy in here like this to try and get some cover from that guy if there's two there, which would be an interesting thing if there was two there, but you never know. You could do that. And then obviously, then you've got access to the spawn. But like I've said before, if you're pushing here, you have a chance of getting punished quite badly. Also, a little thing about this site is that you have this. So if you are a defender in this position, for example, and let's say the attackers have got their space in here, what you can do is you can throw a molly or a flash through here, depending on the flash or the molly, and it can actually go through this little window here. And obviously, if it's a molly, it would explode out here, or flatten out. If it's a flash, it might just go through there, and boom, blind them. Which means you have maybe a mate ready here. I can then swing out, get them here, things like that. And also, it can be returned. That can be done the same way. If they want to go through these doors, let's say the attackers have this space, they might throw a flash or a nade through here. Do the same here. Nade would land here, or the flash would go here. The blind won't work as effectively if they're here because it will be above them. It will do like a slight blind effect, which I might be able to show. I don't know if I will be able to. It won't full blind them, but it will do like a slight one probably in that situation. So it still gives you a slight advantage, but obviously flash isn't as effective, which is kind of the idea of it. I don't want attackers to be able to push this as easy as defenders are to retake that space, because this space should be like this area here should be heavily defended. It shouldn't be one that attackers are just really easily able to go, you know? Let's also say, actually, as an attacker, if you're Jet, for example, I made sure that updraft you have an ability where you can go the line, like the height of these two boxes. You have a few walls on that you can jump on in other maps as well, but this one I want to have one a bit wider so it's not wall bangable. But you can jump on this wall, for example, as Raze or as Jet, and you can take that space. So you might get up there, you might hold a downward angle, so someone pushes you, doesn't realize you're there, you might be able to get that pick quite easy. But at the same time, obviously, if someone swings out of top mid, then maybe goes to here, or even just if you're just on this angle here, they might just see you there. So it's a bit of a punishable area, but also you can tuck in and be safer. I'll say that's how you would take this mid space. And you'd most likely in this situation, as I showed there, you might probably go towards B, but you can still go towards A. Again, you might smoke up here. You might do a really aggressive push, which is very dangerous to just kind of just run out and do, but you could just rush up here, you know. You might go from all the way down here. You may just literally rush up till you've got smoke there, somebody watching it for you. Maybe set someone to flash again just to be safe. Maybe rush up, clear it, depending what character you're playing. And then you get to these doors. Now I will explain what these doors are when we go through mid towards A side. So, yep, let's say we're going to site now towards A side through mid. So this one's a bit more different, mainly because it is a bit longer of the way through mid to get to site because of something I will show you again in a minute. Again, these areas, I will actually specify that I haven't really mentioned on. These areas back here for attackers is made so it's longer than it is for the defenders to get to site. So if I just quickly actually go out here and I will show you. If you look at the map, the spawns, let me just get up here, if I get up. The spawns are these distances and these are the sides. So as you can see, defenders are a lot closer to site. That is because obviously it is their place to defend, it is their space, this is their area to work with. As an attacker, you have a lot more passageways and stuff to work to get towards site rather than site being in your area. Basically, as an attacker, you'll have more space to work with so you can attack site, while defenders have more room so that they can get on site quicker, more effectively, and defend it better, basically. Again, let's say you're going to go attack A through mid. Come through here. Again, this barrier will be here for a little bit. Then it would drop. Same for all other barriers on the map. They all drop at the same time. So if you are attacking A site through mid, what you'd do is you normally would come up here. Have a look through here in case someone has, like, playing Neon or Jet, who are very fast-moving agents. Again, I'll show you, like, Neon on one side, Jet on the other. Some abilities they have to get up fast. Even Raze. I have show Raze. Yeah, so let's say they pushed up here as I was walking up here really fast. So I'd clear this and be like, okay. See a gun here again. Because the idea with being able to see the guns in these angles is to give the attackers a chance if they have pushed up really quickly. Because obviously, I mean, they'll already be in a bit of a frantic state. They've already gone up really fast. They'll be in fast thinking, so they might not play as passive. But if they do, I want to give the attackers a way to still take the space decently quickly. It's a very high risk, high reward thing for the defenders if they push this, basically. Again, you might clear that, might see nothing, might see them. Again, you see this here, swing here, get this guy. Again, you can flash, you can smoke, you can molly off this wall here. Same for this, you put a molly, you just throw it straight down or something. But you'd come up here as an attacker. The idea is with this is that it's meant to be a high covered area for them to quickly take this space. So they can work up here, maybe again put a smoke here just so the back's covered, maybe a smoke up there again. If there isn't there, maybe we'll kill the guy here. Or even like as you swing out this way, for example, there might be a guy here that you might swing and kill. Go through here. Now this, like the other door, as you can tell, is a breakable door because I've labeled it as like pink. It's not one that raises up and down like a switch. It is one that is more like this one on Abyss, where you can break it after a few shots, and then you can go in. You'll take this space again. Someone might have broken the button on the side, but this one, like most maps, has actually an existing barrier to make sure that defenders don't just break at the start of the round and take that space. They are blocked off from this. They could break it, but it'll give the attackers a big advantage if they attack mid. So it's a very like high risk, high reward thing, which is kind of the idea with this map. You probably take this space, go up here, break this door, go through up here. Maybe you'd clear it if you hear that this door's broken. Maybe it hasn't. You don't know if it has broken. Maybe you won't clear it. Maybe you will. Let's say it hasn't broken. You break it here now. We start by clearing out spawn. Maybe even have someone flash again. So you might break it like this angle, tuck back in. Maybe get someone to like jump out here, flash high. Do it through there, as it would come through up here, for example. Keep clear out here. See if there's anybody there. Clear him. Clear heaven. See a guy holding that window. Kill him. And now you've got this massive view over A side, which is a really big benefit. Which is kind of the idea of this, is that it's meant to be a really advantageous position for the attackers to get, but it's a very difficult one for them to get to. But again, also you could take this space here. You can even push into spawn. Again, obviously that comes with its own risks, with it being someone could be holding from over here, someone could be holding from here. It's meant to be punishing if they go too far, but it's also meant to be able to be quite easy, like quite physically possible for them to get to this point and take this space, without it being impossible. So something that I haven't mentioned but is in this map and is in a lot of other maps, windows. So with this, throw some util through here, flash. Oh, God, the sensitivity on things really high. Maybe you throw a flash through there, maybe throw a molly, and it would help you. So in this case, for example, let's say defenders pushed up from here. Maybe they do like a quick flash, jump around corner, or maybe you were late to getting here and they've already taken that space. Basically, that window will help you. So you might throw like a molly off here, because when it goes through here, it's meant to give the attackers a way of re-attacking this area, basically, while also it's angled like this to try and avoid the defenders from doing the same thing. With it being angled like this, it's not really easy to throw a molly through it or a flash, but it is easy for defenders, but it's easier for the attackers to do so, to help take that space. It's also useful for punishing any defenders that, like this guy, for example. He might be holding this. He might decide to push up here and try and take this space. Flash goes through there, might punish him, and he'll have to back off. I might have someone throw a molly through there or a flash. I'll take this space. I'll look here, go, okay, that area's look good. Okay, may have someone flash here if I hear that people are pushing, or even if not, just dry swing it like here, kill this guy, clear that again. Angled walls here just to make it a bit harder for them to tuck into corners. It makes it so that you'll have a better chance of seeing them first and have an advantage on the swing. See this guy holding this angle, kill him. And then I've got two choices here of where I want to go to side, which is different from B side, as you could see. The reason I have main like this and away through mid is because with this, you're having to kind of funnel through into this area to get access to these two areas, which by itself is obviously quite a risky thing. And attackers should be given another option than having to put everybody to go through here just to take side, which is why that mid bit exists that I just showed, or that I'll probably show in a second, depending on which way I layer this out. But as you'll see in that, obviously, it gives you a way to get up there, get a really strong position, which is really useful. And even then, even if you don't get that, you can take that mid control, and it would be really useful if you need to rotate from here to the other side. And I forgot to mention, obviously, like all barriers, just drops again like normal, and this is wall bangable. So if the attackers wanted so if the defenders wanted to push this, they could shoot this, or the attackers could even shoot this as people are coming through here. Anyway, yeah, let's start by going left side through a main. Again, you might jiggle out here, maybe check heaven, see that there's a guy there, spray him. Obviously, maybe you can even hold a high-low where there's someone up there and someone under. Obviously, again, that's quite a high risk. One of you will likely die. But at the same time, obviously, you'll probably kill that attacker, so it'll be a trade, which would be good. It means that they'll be down a player, which would be really useful. Again, the barriers wouldn't be here in this situation. You might jiggle this, see this guy here, get rid of him. Check over there, make sure there's nothing there. Check over here, make sure no one's swinging out this. Clear here. See that this guy's obviously holding for elbow in case somebody started to push through. See a guy here. Maybe get rid of this guy. Maybe tuck up the box here a bit. Clear this. Make sure there's no one hiding here. No good. Maybe have someone again like flash here, maybe another smoke here, maybe while you're entering just to block it. Same for actually also for if you're entering site through here, you might have someone smoke heaven. So instead of when you're swinging this, for example, you have a smoke heaven, then you just need to swing under here, make sure that there's no one there. For example, there could be things like that. But yeah, again, you might clear this out. You might see that this here. Might have a flash here to quickly clear that. Check with that. See that there's someone holding this one again, holding for elbow. Get rid of him, or even one of your teammates might shoot him before you get over here. Get there. Now again, obviously, you don't need to push. You keep pushing past the site because you've got the site, but sometimes it's useful to have this space. Sometimes it's good to have this space because it means that if you have this space, and people obviously are playing retake, they may come through that door over there. You can have this area, so they have to fight you for this, which will delay time for the spike to go off. It'll just make sure that you have more time as a team to actually win the round, basically, which is really useful. But again, you might like jiggle here, see the guy here. Oh, I can kill him, that'd be useful. Kill him. I look here. Oh, there's a guy there. When you're doing that, you've got to keep in mind that there could be someone else here. The idea of this is also to make it difficult for attackers to take the space. See this guy here, maybe shoot him, get rid of him, swing this guy. If you've seen him, get out. And again, you could push spawn here in this situation. So this angle being quite a bad one here if you're going to hold that. You could take this space, you could push this, but obviously again, there could be people holding for you, or you'd likely be at a disadvantage going through here, basically. Now I'll show you how you take elbow. So again, someone might be swinging here. I forgot to mention it for left side, but again, obviously, be doing that. Someone could swing you here, take him out. Do clear elbow slowly. Again, barrier wouldn't be here. Not a tight angle here, but it's one that someone could hold as a slight off angle. Basically, if you were holding this angle as a defender, you might be able to hold this and catch them off guard, which would be useful. Come through here. Got this angle here, which is when you would clear. Again, your team, like if you went left side, might smoke here, which means that this area would be good. But then obviously you might still need to clear this area. Still angle here because there could be someone there. Now, obviously, this view, you've got a view of heaven, but also heaven has a view of you. So it depends where the person in heaven is looking, if there is one. Because in this situation, they could be looking towards you. They could be looking main. But so it's a high risk, high reward for them even being in heaven. Obviously, again, you probably have it smoked off. You might have heaven entirely smoked off. So you could have all this space. You'd have, you have a smoke here, for example, smoke here, which means all this space would be really covered from anybody trying to retake. So it'd only be the people on the site you'd have to deal with. Again, let's say swing out. I see this. Let's say I didn't smoke, and I see this guy. Might take him out. Might jiggle here, just make sure of that. Again, might jiggle heaven. See that guy that's not smoked because my smoke's really bad. God, that guy's really awful at his job. I really wish he smoked once this game. Also, you can also look. You can actually see the person under from here, which is really nice. It means that they can hold an angle on you, but also you need to be aware that they could see you here if you're swinging out. Likely they would probably be watching here, but if they hear like all of you rush elbow, you gotta be aware of that. Again, you can maybe flash high. So you might get your breach back here, flashing through, just as an example, and that would go through the wall here and blind all these people. But let's say you can just shoot that guy. Jiggle here, see this guy, get rid of him. There's no one in that corner. Oh, there's one there. Swing, get rid of him. That type of thing. Well, just with how you would attack through elbow. Quick note in case I haven't done it already because I didn't say it earlier or something, so I can just throw this in. This is the map layout. I might even have it in. No, I might have it actually. I'll probably have it up here. Oh, not there. Where is it? It's up here. It's probably up there. Feature me. Have it up here. Have like a map and the area is loaded. Now, obviously, I've already kind of shown you obviously where defenders would be, but I'm just going to quickly show you like a few angles what it would look like as a defender, just as a reference. So again, barrier same situation as on attackers. You've got to wait for the same time. All barriers drop at the same time. You get rid of this guy. So I know people are pushing up. I might like hold a slight angle here, just because there might be someone holding this for me. I hold this. Someone might push me. Might kill him. Might swing out here, get this. Obviously, then again, could be multiple watching me, could kill me. But also, you could, if you were breach or somebody else was, you could flash up here. I use breach as an example, but obviously there's people like Sky, Gecko, I'm trying to go top of my head. Vise, Reyna, all those have different types of flashes and different ways of using them. Yoru. And I'm really gonna paint myself at editing all this later. Yeah, so you might have that, which will help you take the space box here, which is actually quite useful for attackers in case they get blinded or attacked, which is why it's there. But again, obviously, they'll probably be blinded for a bit, so you have time to swing out here, maybe you get them. But yeah, again, there might be like angles like this, where, you might wait for the attackers, you can spray them down, you have the advantage. As I kind of showed before, you could be here as well, a bit more high risk. Obviously, like this guy, you can hold up here, looking on the side a bit more, maybe angle in case you hear them splitting, so they might come through here and here. So you might be like holding this angle because you hear them coming through both. Have them do a little aggressive swing out here, maybe clear them out here, shoot them a bit. Again, it's kind of a similar situation to that, but closer. Here you can do the same thing. Swing out here. And again, obviously, same with these guys, all the same, all these angles, same over there. This one's a little different, but it's very similar. If you can hold these angles. If you hear them even somehow get into spawn, or if they just rush past you through here, go into spawn, you can obviously hold this. Or if you're just holding for a retake as an attacker, if you planted the spike, let's say, like here, you hear them coming back and you shoot through this. But again, obviously, it's a very high risk, high reward area because of the door here. Again, obviously, if they push through door as a defender, you could go back here. Again, bit of a situation there, so you could go maybe back here, hold this here. A few areas you can go for this. Hold here. A lot of different ways you can do it. And yeah, so that's for this side. Yeah, that's what B side would be like. If you're going attack again, or going top, sorry, again, you could be like this guy. You can do like a wide swing out here, hold this angle for when the barrier drops, because they'll get here later than you will. So you can hold this angle in advance. You might get a pick here. You probably might swing back in here. Same, honestly, you could be there, could be here. You might swing here later. It could be here. There's a lot of areas it could be, but it gives you a lot of opportunities to be able to go back in both directions here, get back into cover. Something else I forgot to mention actually for attack is if you're pushing this, for example, if you decide you're just going to run this for some reason, but you might do. So obviously it's not really favorable because there's a lot more defense up here. But you could like throw a breach flash up here, for example, which would obviously blind anybody that's up here, even someone that's over here. It's a very deadly flash if you flashed up here, because if you flashed there, for example, it would be able to see everybody from down here and down here. So it is a very deadly flash. But obviously, if you did that, it's still going to be very difficult to get there in the first place to take advantage of it, and the flash doesn't last forever. So let's say nobody pushed there at the start of the round. Let's say the barrier's just dropped. You have the time to swing down here before their barrier drops. Watch there. Can take this space, kind of like you'd see with Jet and Raze. And like these guys obviously take these positions. Maybe you'd take something like that. Maybe you'd hold something more like this. This is an issue because someone could swing out here as well. So it's a bit of a punishable angle, that one. It's a good off angle to hold if you know they're just coming from that side or think they are. Similar situation here, but you can maybe tuck in a bit more here, which would be really useful. Something I didn't touch on for the attackers is, again, I was saying you get punished if you came out here, but if, for example, let's say you're the only one left and the people are rushing you down, you need somewhere to go. So you can go back into your spawn. You've got this little angle here you can hold. You can go all the way back here maybe to get this angle on them. If you hear someone else behind, like you hear someone here, but you also hear someone from this side. So maybe you'll hold this angle, get this guy first, swing out, kill this guy. And obviously, if you get that guy, you can maybe come back here, clear this, whatever. But also, the way I've laid this out, so this area entrance here is a lot wider than this one is. The reason for that is these kind of angled areas. So this one is thinner, this one's longer. This is to kind of correspond to each other. So if you're in a defender spawn, let me just get rid of these guys out of the way just so I can show this a bit better. But let's say like you're in defender spawn and you hear people rushing you this way. For just so you know, normally there'd be merchandise here, like there'd be like merchandise in that type of shop, so it would be blocking the window so they wouldn't really see you. They're just visuals for the game. But let's say they're all coming through here. You know that they're coming. Might take this angle because of this. It also leaves you a bit exposed here. But if you're like a smoker, for example, you can easily put a smoke here just to block them off. Again, it's a bit of a high risk, high reward angle. It's not great for keeping you alive. It's more just if you want to do an aggressive angle to try and get a few picks if they're trying to rush you down. You want to get a pick if you have like a low buy, so you don't really have proper guns, but they do. So they'll have more expensive guns than you will. You want to get a pick so that they don't have that going into the next round, for example. Things like that. So that these type of angles kind of encourage you to do that type of play to try and get that pick. So then you'll likely, so that the enemy will likely have less guns in the future. As a defender, there's some ways you could play mid and spawn. Again, obviously, I will just quickly mention this as an attacker. Obviously, you can attack this area, but it is meant to kind of give you a disadvantage because, that's not your spawn. You don't need to push that. It's meant to be a bit harder for you. As I've shown earlier, you've got this heaven area. So as a defender, you'll have full access to this at the start of the round before the barriers drop. You can have this space. You can actually fully look here into main, which is really useful for holding this angle in case they're going to push you. But to counter this, just so the attacks aren't completely screwed when they come through, I've got those little windows there. So you can throw like a flash through there again. Maybe even as I said, like maybe throw a molly into main to stop them from pushing you. But throwing a flash there would be deadly for the person in heaven. They won't be able to watch that angle anymore. But they could still tuck in here, hold that, or even just hold here, which is really useful. It means that the defender's not being fully blocked by that flash, they still have a lot of space to work with. It means the attackers have enough space to actually take main and be ready to attack you. I've been talking for 42 minutes, holy crap. You know, to shoot people if they enter here, you have full view of main. It's a bit hard to shoot because this gun's a bit different than a normal Valorant gun. You'd be able to shoot normally here, fine. Could shoot there. Then yeah, you've got all that. Even jump out of him if you want to, depending what util you have. You can honestly just jump out. You might take slight fall damage, but not much. Obviously it's not favorable, but it is possible that you can do. And then obviously as trying to fire these bots, you can push out here maybe. You might hold this angle here to get rid of anybody pushing you here. Might hold this angle here in case someone pushes you here. Maybe look away from a flash, get somebody here, throw a molly here, smoke, whatever. This angle, like obviously the same situation. More if you just need to kind of hide, maybe watch that angle. Double for this guy. The idea with this guy being on a higher box is quite good because again, when they swing, they need to change their crosshair placement, which makes this angle more advantage for the defenders to hold. You can even have, I pretty sure kept him alive. You can have someone else there, and you can maybe hold lower. It's called a high-low. Very simple naming, I know, but a high-low is basically where you can have two players look at the same angle, and they'll likely get a trade because of them being able to see the enemy at the same time. So the attacker in the situation might kill one of us, but because there's two of us, and we both shoot at the same time, we'll likely get him on the trade where trade's quite simple, as I think I mentioned, but they'll kill one of you, you'll kill one of them. That's a trade, for example, or vice versa. God, my voice is screwed. Ugh. We're good. We continue. I'm hoping I edited some of this out. I really hope I did. Anyway, could hold this angle again. Very risky. Not really one you really want to take. You've got this one, which would be nice. You can hold here. Get this angle. Maybe even hold here because it kind of blocks you from being able to get seen from main. But you can obviously hold this, which is a nice angle. Can you maybe tuck in here if you know they're pushing you? The smoke here if you're waiting for your. Maybe you'll tuck here while you wait for the rest of your team to get here to play retake. Say there's a smoke here. They've got the space. They're probably not going to push because there's a smoke down. You wait here for your team to get here, and then when the smoke goes down, you might play together to take the site back. And obviously you might fall back here, hold these angles. You might even play some other ones. If you also smoke this, the attackers might also just smoke this and try to take this space. The issue is if attackers smoke this space, for example, as a defender, you then actually have the ability to go out here and play an aggressive angle. Again, not always advised because, you're normally better to wait for your team. So you can do a 5v5 fight instead of a 1v5. Bit unfair. So you want to try, you normally try to avoid that unless you know you can maybe get a pick and get back out again. Yeah, obviously these angles. And I think that's really about it. Explaining of how defenders and attackers would normally play this. Obviously, in this video, I haven't mentioned every angle you could play. I haven't mentioned every bit of util that would be used or movement util that could be used into different angles on this map. There's loads of different ways it can be done, but that is a rundown on the main ways people would hold, push, attack, etc. Actually, there is one last thing I will quickly show, and that is these areas. So let's say the attackers have all gone B side. This is A side, B side, the other side. Let's say they've all gone B side. You then have the ability to just kind of just take this space, As an attacker, you can obviously hold back here. Maybe you've got a lurker, so someone that is away from the main bit of the team that's attacking B side, waiting here for a defender to push them because the defender think this is clear. They might not clear this angle. They might just push here and get shot in the back, for example. Basically, this area is made so you're able as a defender to push it quite easily and just run around to try maybe get a flank timing on them. But obviously, you can maybe have someone posted here that will punish them for doing so. That's kind of important with this. Same situation if the defender's attacking, they can just spray through this. If someone was like holding this angle here, that slight elevation, for example, is also to give the person holding this angle either a slight advantage or even a disadvantage because people might just know it's there and just spray a bit higher, things like that. Same with this box, same premises. These boxes and walls are always in place to try and give a more interesting fight to enclose it or just isolate 1v1s really, which is really useful. Again here as well, these cubbies are here just so attackers can kind of defend if they need to, or even defenders can defend. You might have for example, actually in fairness, you might have two people alive, for example, and you hear people coming from here and here. So you might get you and a buddy to hold these angles. You might hold this way. Your buddy would hold maybe this way, and you can kind of help each other, which is a really nice little mechanic I like about this area. I kind of intended for it. I also didn't until I put it into this level. I went, oh, that's quite nice actually. I like that. It's a good bit. It's a good angle for team play, so I kept that in. Again, actually, as an attacker, you could also go up here, which I didn't mention. You could go up here. You won't really see the person here, but you can maybe see them here. Better really just for holding this angle. Again, mention that future me in the attack a bit. Which if I didn't, very embarrassing. Maybe I didn't have time to edit. So sorry. I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, there's that. There's even this little bit of elevation, which I forgot to mention, where it will basically help you. So when the sun god, they can maybe slightly see your head. They might have a slight advantage, but if you back up here, you'll be able to see them a bit clearly. Especially normally in this situation, you have that maybe like a little bit of sand, some sandbags, or like snow, depending on where the map's set. But something like that's quite nice to have, just to kind of give you a slight advantage for that gunfight. And then again, finally, if defender pushing up here, took the space, gotta clear this area, gotta clear this. You take this because it's decently covered from here. It means that they'll be very unlikely to hit you before you can clear this angle. You tuck it to the wall. As an attack, you might hold this angle if you hear them pushing. Yeah, now I'm putting this defender again, you might push up this way. You gotta clear this angle. This is meant to be kind of punishing if you're taking these angles. Attackers could be you're on any corner. And it's kind of the idea around it, so that you don't push too far. It's the same premise, as it would be for an attacker going past site. A defender going through main and going into their spawn, for example, is kind of meant to be punishing. As I kind of showed here, same situation. This one's just slightly angled. You might be holding this. Watch back here. Some last bits I'll quickly show. These roof bits that you kind of seen throughout the video. So in the game, these might be slightly different. These are more like placeholders. Pardon me. But what you normally do with these types of areas is you could do molly lineups, where people might be able to throw a molly from a different part of the map and land here using points of reference on the map. So I'll quickly go into this view. You might, for example, let's say you're over here in attacker spawn and you want to throw a molly into site, like into a site. This little crane here. Thank you. So, God, it's laggy. Sorry, it's gonna be a bit laggy right now. It's a bit laggy right now. But what you can do, obviously, you may be able to line up here. If you've got a molly or a scan dart, if you're sober, for example, which I'll probably show on screen, you can obviously throw it a long way by shooting the arrow. But using that as a point of reference is kind of important. Not kind of very important. But there's like loads of these little things like the cranes. Oh my God, it's lagging so much now. Sorry about this. Let's go up here so you can see it a bit better. Yeah, obviously there's a few great areas where, like, there's roof areas that I wanted to have, area where molly could get thrown in there if people got the lineup correctly. But there may be things in the terrain that you could use to line up, like leaves, cranes, buildings, like all that. There's loads of ways you could do it. Like be molly lineups, scan lineups, stuff like that can be used. And these little details on the map that, bring the map more to life also help with the gameplay, which is why they're here. In case you can't tell, lighting changed. I forgot to talk about one last thing, and that is these little orbs. So, in the game, I'll probably show like a visual representation somewhere over here. It's just a placeholder for now, but just be like kind of like this. An orb basically helps charge up your ultimate in game. Basically, you have like an orb ability. You have to get a certain amount of points, which you get through like getting kills. You get it from dying, you get it from defusing the spike. You also get it from picking up these orbs. There's 2 normally per map. This is what they look like for my visual representation. But they're both, so the other one's over here. They are both always positioned in main on the entranceway to site. And as I said, there's always normally 2. But yeah, anyway, I think that is where I'm going to end this, so I can actually get editing on this and hopefully get it done for the hand-in. Thank you guys for watching. I know this is a very big yappy video. A lot of this won't be cut out, but obviously some bits will. Thank you guys. I hope the examiner didn't get bored watching this. I might chop it down a bit, depending. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. For those that normally watch, and for the examiner, I hope this gave a good explanation of how the map works and correlates to Valorant mechanics that are already in place. Thank you. Bye-bye.